What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I am back with some more Age of Mythology. The Titans action spawning on the right side of the map in the red color, playing as Poseidon. It is 3antozz. Yay! The crowd cheers. Yay! His opponent today in the red color, lifting weights on the regular. Playing as Ra. His name is, we don't know, because he is pretending to be someone he's not. Someone he's not indeed. So in this game, we're going to call him someone he's not. So spawning on the left side of the map, this is someone he's not. This is what happens when you smurf. You just stop doing it. It's very easy. It's very easy. You just don't need to. We do have a Ra versus Poseidon. This was a suggested game as a quote-unquote popcorn game, which means go get some bloody popcorn, y'all. I won't, because we're on a health kick, trying to lose some of that extra COVID chub, and getting out and being active. You know, we do have the Eye of Horus here for our Ra player, the man who I do not know who is. Eye of Horus being an incredible relic to pick up, especially for Ra, but also for every other civilization as well. 6 population is 6 population. 3antozz, on the other hand here, scouting around. Oh, look at this. Look at this sheep scouting. Are we watching Age of Empires 2 here or what? Let's go. We've got the giraffe spotted, the town center spotted. This could end up being an incredibly boomy game because of these factors. If we turn the fog of war off, we've got a spawn of a savannah. Now, savannah has got, I would say, 3 different spawns. So one of the spawns is back town centers, where both town centers are back. This happens some of the time, since you get a town center on the right, so you get town center on the left side. And very slow games. Spawn number 2 is the spawn that which would be a town center on the left, town center from the right, town center on the right, town center on the right, right? That could be a possibility where the town centers are really close to each other. That happens some of the time. But this is the third option, which is kind of similar to the back town center situation, except in the middle of the map. And the thing about this is that the Ra player playing defensively is never going to be able to defend into a victory here as he would normally like to. He's not going to be able to win the game with mercenary spam. Chemo defensive style in this situation is not going to be it. Thank you so much for the 300 bits Theseus 22222. I think I had too many 2s there. Anyways, this town center, no mercenary spam onto this town center. This town center is too far away as well. So having that as something in the back of your mind as a Ra player, you have to think about, okay, what other ways can I actually play this game? What is my actual win condition in this matchup? Now, one might say, well, it's an open map and it's high hunt, and I found my giraffe here. Bast is an option here, especially given the potential, the relic that's in the grass of our pharaoh and all the other good stuff that happens with that. As we see, Hermes coming through for 3antozz, and our Ra player here chucking up the temple. One monument, probably not gonna. We actually could still be Bast here. No, he's gone that extra villager. So generally speaking, if you're going Bast with Ra, you want to advance fairly quickly. You want to go like a 415 or a 430, and you get your second monument while you're advancing. The reason for this is that early Sphinx coming out is enough to basically mean, well, my opponent has to leave their heroes at home. They can't harass me. We see a nice wall coming up here from our Ra player, but they have to leave their heroes at home. They can't harass me, and that Sphinx is going to be a very real threat, as we have possibly the most random villager I've ever seen in my life here. I'm not sure exactly what's happening here, but he does decide to retreat back. He's gotten 5 wood. He's claimed that tree, and he said, yes, I knocked it down, and I'm going to live the dream now. And Dar has come through. So no Bast shenanigans here in this game. A little bit sad to see that. And we will probably be seeing a fairly early second town center here from 3antozz. He's going to get himself Theseus, Apollo. No real surprises there. It's a fast advance time. Love that advance time here. No real reason to go slow with Poseidon. Fast heroics don't really work. And we do indeed see our Ra player deciding to leave his hunt nice and early here as the centaur is going to be making its way over here. Now, a little trick that I've talked about before, utilizing the Catastrophe can actually be used with these heroes as well in the early stages of the game to drag them into the locations faster. A bit of speed walking is very, very strong. Anyways, moving over here onto this town center here, we do see that our Ra player has gotten 0 wood gathered in this game. So he's not going for an early Shadoof. He's just going to grab this town center and then grab these Gazelle and just gonna deal with chat right now. Okay, so Lumbercamp's coming down, so he's actually going for Shadoof. I thought maybe he could get a heroic gauge off of these Gazelle here, maybe. I mean, probably not enough. With the help of these herdables, but without having husbandry, it's very, very slow. So the armory coming down as well. As 3antozz is actually, we went for the forward talent center. What's on this? Some baboon. I mean, he can move backwards onto these giraffes. So I guess it doesn't really matter. And he's not too worried about any sort of early game raids here. So we do see the Hippolyta and Centaur sneaking in here, hitting the Pharaoh. But he's not going to be able to get all too much damage done at this point, it seems. Town center up for 3antozz, moving over onto these giraffe. He does have some gazelle back here as well, but only 3 compared to his opponent's 5. I'm not sure exactly. He probably had his lure. Grab a couple of them, and he's also onto his chicken over here. Does he have himself husbandry coming through? Not just yet. I think a lot of the times here we do see fairly early 3rd town centers from our Poseidon players in this matchup against the 2 town center Ra. Now this does open your this does lend itself to some difficult defenses, as the Ra player's economy is going to be really big and they can go for huge timing attacks. But it does depend on how the Ra player kind of reads what's actually happening here. And we have got 3antozz already sitting back, and he's kind of got control of this situation here. You see the walls coming up. And there's that 3rd town center coming down for 3antozz. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go for some sort of kind of semi-fast mythic gauge here behind all of this, getting all these walls up super early to just kind of block the entire map off. It's really, really strong. This is something that in any game where you have access to walls is really strong. You invest 1 villager into this nice and early, and if it's a boomy game and your opponent is not getting any units up, you can just completely shut your opponent in without really much of a hit to your economy at all. And we still don't see that 3rd town center up for 3antozz. He's starting to build it now. There he goes. And we will continue to see what's happening here as those walls are going to continue to pop up. The Wadget is hanging out here, though, so he's kind of aware of some potential harassment that could come in. And I'm surprised, honestly, like 3antozz probably doesn't need his Hippolyta over here. He's not going to get all too much value out of his Hippolyta. Being over here and defending this villager against the 1 potential unit the Wadget can get is kind of important, but not actually too much of an issue here. As that 3rd town center is just about to get up. House coming down for 3antozz. As the booming is on the way. See what our Ra player can actually get up to here, though. He does have his armory up. He's got himself what looks to be 1 monument here. Generally speaking, you probably want at least 2 monuments in this matchup to get out all your upgrades or get out Betsukos, depending on what you actually want. And we do see the wall has been sniped here. And this is going to be a little bit of pressure here. I think the Hippolyta can sit out the back and snipe the villager on this farm without taking too much damage, maybe. But honestly, he's not going to get all too much from this, it seems.
In which?
And the villager getting pulled back here. Pharaoh empowering the town center does in fact double the arrows of the town center, so he's going to be able to get a whole bunch more damage. Though if he could manually attack that center, it will be a little bit better. We do see the wall getting thrown back up over here. If 3antozz is on on his game here. He might notice this going up a little bit too far away from this location. Could have put a stop to that. We in fact do see that Wadjet managing to prevent this wall from going up. But then again, like I mentioned, like even he spots the villager, he doesn't kill the villager. Even if he does kill the villager, the hit to the economy isn't that big of a deal, and attrition is just going to try again a little bit later. As attrition is spamming those villagers out, more walls coming up. Hathor does come through here. So the thing is, in this situation right now, is that Rangers, whatever his name is, has got the ball in his court. He is technically in front in economy at this point because of rain, because of Ra, but he's behind in town centers. So he needs to get this town center up in order to kind of catch up on the villager count. If he spends time doing that, which he is actually doing, then the Greek player gets kind of everything that he wanted in this situation. So this town center grab here is arguably a mistake here from the Egyptian player, at least from the Ra player, in my opinion. It's one villager getting sniped. I think it's a much better idea to get army here and get tech and make a big push here, whether that's with Son of Osiris or whatnot, and then get this town center after all of that, because your opponent's just being greedy, and you're allowing him to be greedy by getting your third town center later. And you do have shifting stands, so you can jump in behind them for ceasefire, all the good stuff. And one thing that attrition is doing here is not really building units. He is starting to get some Hippocon at 10 minutes into the game. And this is partly because Ra's got kind of poor scouting. You can kind of get away with it. But if the Rock spots anything or nothing going on, he's going to have a field day. As we do see the Rock spotting these villagers. Might be able to pick off one villager here, as he doesn't get that one. Nice control there from attrition to get those villagers, keep those villagers alive. So you see the Hippolyta and Theseus coming over here to try and take this Rock down. Now, one thing that, if your opponent does play like this and throws these walls up, one way to use this Rock, which is much more efficient, is to simply just jump over these walls with the Rock. So you position the Rock on top of one of these locations, you drop them over the other side, pick up the units, you drop over here, and your opponent is none the wiser that they're about to get raided. If you have any idea where their opponent's resources actually are. As these villagers are now starting to make their way over onto the farms, attrition with tons of resources in the bank. Our Ra player here on 3 town centers, short just a couple of houses it would seem, and he is just simply making all of those cavalry out at this point. I don't see a siege works just yet, so no real idea of making any serious attempt at pushing his opponents. We do see this villager here coming forward, maybe going to try and wall this choke point off and start getting an advantage where that's concerned. As we see over here, the wall coming down by attrition, there's a market coming up. You hate to see it. I've begun to start feeling like it's, instead of getting the market early, it's much better to send the villager that's gonna be building the market to just make sure it walls off everything first and then builds the market. We do see the cavalry coming over here to put a stop to this one here, as attrition is going to attempt to get that up, but in the end he's probably not going to be able to finish this one here, as the villager runs through, and it's going to get picked off here. A big raid's now coming in onto attrition's villager line here as he's pulling back, as Aphrodite is coming through, and full villagers it's seemingly looking like for our Ra player as well. Market just about up as the Nemean line gets big amounts of damage down here. The Bazookas could turn around and get some good damage there, but he's just going to run back over this wall. There are lots of units inside of that rock, so got to be a bit careful with it. Turn around, try and take down this wall as well. So the Nemean line going to come forward and try and get some damage done. And this is a bit of a throwaway from attrition, as the Bazookas and Wadjet get a whole bunch of damage done. But now the medium Hippocon are coming forward. Do we see heavy upgrades coming through? Not just yet. We are getting those Prodromus. We see the Atlanta coming through. Still no Mythic Age just yet for attrition, and our Ra player as well. No Mythic Age, and we see that Siege Works now coming down as the second Migdol is down as well. As the fighting does commence, leaving this Pharaoh in the back, forcing a curse here. It's probably worth it to start thinking about retreating from this fight, but it's seemingly looking like the Ra army just a little bit too strong for attrition at this point. These units are going to be retreating back. see how it's going to go as the Hippolyta here gets sniped off. But you have to be very careful going this hard into cavalry when your opponent has already got heavy cavalry. Because if you go this hard into cavalry, then they're just going to make a whole bunch of prodromus and they're going to be able to stop you pushing. The answer really in this situation is not actually to make chariot archers. Chariot archers might seem like the backbone of the Egyptian army, but in fact, in this situation, cavalry and heavy spearmen are actually the right way to go here. If you can have a whole bunch of barracks down making heavy spearmen and cavalry against this army, then you're really forcing your Poseidon opponent to make serious decisions about what they need to make. You see the Pharaoh getting taken down here as units are able to push forward very, very nicely through this. Atlanta able to take down that Petsukos in the back. Population is 145. For our Ra player to 118 for 3antozz. Nice raids coming through over here from these two cavalry, trying to pick up a couple of villages. So these units are retreating back. We see the villagers are a little bit angry at that hyena attacking their troops. They're going to come in and help out just a little bit. 3antozz with lots of kind of wood and gold in the bank, starting to throw down some side buildings super early. Our Ra player hasn't really set these walls up early enough here. He needs to get them sorted because 3antozz is just continuously being annoying with just a handful of villages. You have to put so much population in to defend this kind of attack. So you see the wall coming through being very annoying yet again. Migdol stronghold coming up. This extra building getting set up by 3antozz. It's just going to be again very annoying to deal with, giving 3antozz a lot of time elsewhere on the map. And this definitely does come down to decision making, getting the market first, getting your wall set up first, and maybe just send 2 villagers next time. Get the walls up first while you get the market up if you need to, as a random point that seems to be fairly accurate. You do see the watchtowers coming down now for 3antozz. He's ready to start getting this that kind of situation sorted. He does have himself 32 villagers on the farms right now. He's got himself irrigation. Farm placement leaves just a little bit to be desired. It's not too bad, but I do think that it's as important as a market placement in the corner, and probably more important than a corner market placement to get perfect farms. And you can see like over here, these farms are all bad. This farm. It's just, you just lose actually a fairly decent amount of resources. And we see Horus. Horus is the god of choice here for our Ra player. We'll see if it's going to work for him or not. I imagine 3antozz is probably going to be thinking about getting himself Masons as soon as he sees the Horus come through. Oftentimes we see Osiris in this matchup, so that doesn't happen. You don't see that Horus too often, so you don't bother with Masons. So there might be a timing here that Rangers can play into. He does seemingly look like... Oh no, he doesn't have fortified town center, so he's got all of his houses right now. We've got that extra +6 population that comes through from that relic. And do we see 3antozz getting himself Masons? No, not just yet. But he does have buildings on this town center at the very least, so it's going to soak a bit of that damage up. These Toxotes are getting popped out here, going to sit underneath the Migdol stronghold. And then, or not only that, the Migdol starts targeting down some of these stables here, but he does manage to retask that one there, make himself a couple of chariot archers to defend this situation here. He's basically, you have to make a siege tower or something to take out these buildings. This is super annoying, but looking like he's going to be able to deal with it nonetheless. As over here, the Avenger is starting to get taken down by an Atlanta of 3antozz. 3antozz is still trying to hold here. He's still going full cavalry as we see the heavy spearman has come through here. Is there any idea? He is actually getting it. Okay, great. Spear of the Horizon here is such a big technology for these spearmen. So it's effectively a little bit better than Champion Spearman from memory. It's 30% hit points instead of 20% hit points. So you get that extra upgrade for very cheap. So you get stronger Champion Spearman at Heavy Spearman, and then once you can afford Champion Spearman, those Spearmen just become ridiculously strong. We do see a dock getting put over here for 3antozz. He wants to continue putting pressure on this corner. Sometimes it's worth it, especially with a market placement this poor. Sometimes it's more worth it to just go into the safe corner and just not worry about it and put pressure on elsewhere on the map. So if your opponent's putting all the pressure over here, you should be putting pressure over here. And that's kind of where you get your value in a way. As these spearmen tanking very, very nicely. Lots of priests in the back here. I'm not exactly sure what they're for. Maybe for dealing with Nemean Lions, something else. I'm not 100% sure. Holding on to this Tornado, there might be an idea to go for the Titan Age here for our Ra player in an effort to pick off his opponent's Titan Gate with the Tornado. We'll see if that's going to happen or not. As these camel caravans wandering around, getting raided. Very, very annoying still. Not really too much support for this being set up, as we see more walls getting put up here by 3antozz as he's continuously setting up in this corner. Very, very nice play. But our Ra player here is starting to make this this Poseidon army look very, very weak, as we have these upgrades, but there's still no armory upgrades that are super useful. If he gets those mail upgrades against the full cavalry, it's super, super strong. But he hasn't done that one just yet. He does still have this Tornado to use. We'll see if he's going to use that. Normally, if you use it super late, it's actually better to make sure you get a catapult or two out to mix in with the Tornado, get the town center down a little bit, and then get the Tornado down. But we'll see if that's something he's going to do. But at this point, this army kind of isn't a threat in a lot of ways, because there's no siege here. They can't really push. So he needs to get a little bit of siege out in order to help just a little bit more. And still seeing more buildings getting thrown up. Maybe going to try and finish off this wall down in the bottom corner as well. More units here getting sniped down. Hippolyta over here getting taken out as well, as we see a random turret archer running into this location to see what's up. Still no masons through for 3antozz, so that Tornado could be very, very useful here, as the champion spearman does indeed come through for our Ra player. I'm interested to see if he's able to afford himself greatest of the 50, which he is actually able to afford, and he should be thinking about getting fairly soon. I don't think he's getting it just yet, as I cycle through all of those barracks there. And you see the gate getting taken down. We do also still see a whole lot of upgrades that are left here, or god powers that are left. Now, one thing you can try, big locust potential here. Sometimes going for that could be an option, but let's see how it's going to go. Normally, like if this is someone like Joe in this situation, he would probably be throwing up a whole bunch of migdols over here, but I don't see those. He's got all the migdols in the back of his base here, I guess. So he's not really able to afford that just yet. So you see these Hippocons sneaking forward, going to try and take down these villages here. 3antozz still trying to figure out a way forward in this match. The chariot archers here come forward, hit this location. Big locust getting thrown down. So many dead villagers. It is 20 minutes into the game, so losing those villages doesn't matter a whole heap. But 3antozz is still only in the heroic age, it seems. So he's losing those villages is going to hurt quite a bit. So we'll see if he's going to be able to make any sort of movement here, as we do see that Tornado getting thrown down onto this location. He does take down one building there, as the fortified town center will start to fall, as well as this Tornado is moving around. We see the villagers trying to repair this town center back up. The Tornado is going to be able to pick off a couple of those villages nonetheless here, as the town center getting very close to falling, and does indeed fall at the very end of that Tornado, as 3antozz does immediately cast ceasefire in order to get this town center back, and he has managed to click up on Hephaestus here. So figuring his win condition is that he doesn't actually have the resources to get this one up. Imagine shifting sanding onto this position right now for our Ra player and stealing that town center, but did not occur there to our Ra player. And 3antozz is going to get that town center back up. I thought that was maybe the play here, but he didn't have the resources for it. And it can be so absurdly strong doing that, because your opponent's just not going to be ready for it. You're shifting sand in like 20 villages here. You take the farms and you just set up shop behind their base, and then your opponent just cries that shifting sands is overpowered, and then you go, you're absolutely right, it is overpowered. But we didn't see it. It didn't happen. There's these donkey caravans now moving to this town. It's a little bit more risky, but he needs to continue his trade route as the game continues. As we're starting to see some towers getting thrown up on the front here as these units are getting sniped down very, very quickly. We do upgrade to the 50. We are starting to see some armory upgrades coming through. We've only got the one armory at this point here. As 3antozz is going to be getting himself Divine Blood. More villagers will be coming through. Hephaestus is going to help out his economy quite a lot here, as you do see a couple of these heavy cavalry coming through. I think it's worthwhile to just build an elephant here instead of heavy cavalry. It's going to clean up those military buildings quite fast. It can deal with the militia that spawn as well. We are seeing an attempt at a market on that location up here as Ra player is trying to get some sort of decent trade route set up, but she's not able to do so just yet. Now the Colossus is out for 3antozz. This is where things get scary as Horus. You've got no answer for Colossus. Normally this is why Ra players like to go for Osiris here. Horus is more of a end the game here and now kind of thing, and it's seemingly looking like, yes, there's an advantage for our Ra player, but it's not a tangible advantage like town center advantage or trade route gold advantage to actually give him a win. Now 3antozz has dropped down to 130 population. Our Ra player is still at full population here, still getting a whole good amount of damage done. This Colossus is going to tear down this watchtower incredibly fast. A lot of the time in this situation you kind of have to bring your Pharaoh in to deal with the Colossus as well, which means you're not going to be empowering your market or whatever. As we finally see the militia have been dealt with and the side build has kind of been dealt with here, but there is still some more buildings over here as well. As the army pushing forward, going to try and take down these units in the back here. And similarly looking like there's not a whole good way forward, but we do have a beautiful attempt here from our Ra player. If he can get close enough in here to be able to siege this town center, which it looks like it is close enough, then I don't know exactly what 3antozz can do to stop this, because once this is set up, it's kind of lights out. Unless he can get out those gold colossus to kind of push through here, and he does actually start sending the catapult there onto this town center. 3antozz is going to have to devote a whole bunch of villagers to repairing this one back up. We'll see how that's going to go. One option here for our Ra play would definitely be to get a rock in and then just drop some spearmen over here to harass these villagers and just drop them over, get some towers up and try and get in behind. One thing that I don't see enough from Ra players is the side build rock raid. So we do see these villagers in here, so we are going to be seeing some attempt at using side builds, but rock side builds are devastatingly strong, possibly the strongest thing in the game, because it completely avoids any sort of defenses that are set up, and you can just kind of wander over those situations and cause absolute havoc. As this town center is slowly going down, there's the Polyphemus coming in without any towers set up here. I thought that was going to be towers get set up, but he hasn't actually done it. You see a wall getting thrown up here, but this is just going to delay for a little bit. This is only 4 population, so 2 spearmen here to take this Polyphemus down is going to have to be a lot more devoted to this one, as it looks like 3antozz is going to be able to clean this up fairly easily with just the usage of those units here, as he is defending fairly nicely here, and the armory upgrades are going to be coming through very fast. The only 1 armory for our Ra player. We've got the 3 armories up for 3antozz. He's still very low on the resources. We see the Polyphemus sniping down that catapult there as a villager potentially going to be falling, as well as more walls are getting thrown up here from our Ra player. A little bit disgusting, but is what it is. More spearmen coming through onto this position. What is really going on here with the economy is the question. We've stopped seeing those the trade route really being built here from our Ra player, which is actually significantly hindering his ability to make any tangible ground here. Now he has gone through he has gone through, I literally just blanked Hathor. He has gone through Hathor. So he does have access to Magi, so he can spam Mercenary in onto this position. Once this position is a little bit too far, but this one here he could be making some ground with those Mercenary, but he just doesn't have the trade route set up just yet to really start utilizing it. He's got these trade caravans over here that are similarly just walking around the entirety of the map to get anywhere useful. But we'll see how it's going to go as the catapult now pushing in, taking down some buildings over here. The chariot archers have spotted these villagers in here. An attempted wall getting set up over here by our Ra player to get that side build happening, stopping the donkey caravans here as well, as this storehouse seemingly is an impassable building. Now we're starting to see some heavy Hatyroi coming through for 3antozz. Is going to get some raids happening here, looking to take something out as the Hatyroi swing through here. It's going to try and get onto this trade route, take down the Migdol strongholds, potentially here, maybe even take down the market and completely shut down this trade route. As we see a watchtower coming out, it does have crenellations. It's going to be able to take down the heavy Hatyroi very, very quickly. There's more units still piling in onto this location. And over here, the Colossus going to attempt to get taken down by the Spearmen. At this point, fully upgraded Spearmen against an unupgraded Colossus, you can actually win these fights here with a handful of Spearmen against the Colossus, because it really doesn't do that much damage, and the Spearmen do actually slowly but surely take him down. So they're doing like 8 damage a shot or something. 8 damage, yeah, 5 damage, 6 damage a shot. And they don't really take much damage themselves. So you will kill off the Colossus eventually. While we see villagers managing to sneak in here for 3antozz yet again to finish off this wall that was once constructed. And now it's a stone wall. Now it's annoying. And you have to devote a lot of population over here to defending this, whereas, I mean, he's not really doing that. He does have this location over here that he could come and take yet again, as we see the Colossus is actually getting dealt with by some priest over here, as the Colossus does end up falling. The idea of just getting back in onto this position seems to be very, very foreign here to our Ra players. This is honestly the best position possibility he does have. As more walls coming up over on this position here, the market has been dealt with. The trade route has been repositioned here for 3antozz into a very safe position. We'd love to see the market here going to this town center, but you know, what can you do in the heat of the moment? As a catapult has come out, more idle units here, as maybe our Ra player is a little bit asleep at the wheel, it seems. Gold villagers have managed to take this gold mine, being one of the last gold mines on the map here. Over here we see the Colossus getting taken down by a whole bunch of villagers, more buildings getting thrown up in on this position by 3antozz, who's now got a whole bunch of wood in the bank, a whole bunch of food in the bank, but 0 gold in the bank, as this is going to be a big test here for our Ra player to kind of work out how to move forward in this game, because he's going to have a big advantage here. 3antozz 0 gold, Rangers 0 gold, but full population. So he's going to have to use this somehow, some way. So we see the catapult still sitting back. Where the villagers is the question. You just have to bring a handful of villagers over here to get the walls up, and then you live the dream. But he's not doing it, and he's still moving forward on this side. A couple of markets getting set up over here. There is a world where you can start thinking about going Axemen here. Axe of Vengeance Axemen are actually really good at cleaning up side builds, because they've also got the bonus against, not only get the bonus against buildings, but also against the militia, so you can clean those up nicely as well.
Into you.
But, I mean, that's kind of... People don't build Axemen very often. But they're good. Axe of Vengeance Axemen, I think, kill buildings faster than Zeus Hoplites. Little known fact. But it's good. There's a catapult rolling forward here. Gonna start taking down the armory over here. He does manage to take it down. 4 militia are picked up. Do actually spawn from an armory. I think that needs a bit of a nerf. 4 militia from an armory? That's ridiculous. You can have 1 militia from an armory. Why are there any in that armory is my question. Town center does remain standing here as well, because no walls have been thrown up here to defend those catapult. There's another catapult ends up getting taken down here. So we're trying to make some sort of inroads on this location. Another random market, as both people's markets are right next to each other. Big question marks here. More walls getting thrown up over here as well. As we are starting to see kind of where Age of Mythology descends into a little bit of chaos. I'm not going to lie. All of these walls here, it does not look the prettiest. It does not look the prettiest at all. Well, what can you do? See the guard tower getting taken down here. As the catapult does pop out and immediately gets taken down as well. We do have boiling oil, which will at least get a little bit of damage done onto these heavy Hippocon as they're trying to take down the watchtower, but it will get killed nonetheless. So we're still seeing an attempt here from our Ra player to get in on this position, and he still has like no real tangible gold in the bank, but his trade route is still kind of moving around the map here kind of decently. He's got the walls set up, but he's just going to continue to get raided here, it seems, as these camel caravans just they're just really not efficient at all. Feeling sad. Well, Antozz is desperate right now, getting out those Centaur at this point. Probably the only unit he can really make that is worthwhile from the temple here. Making Nemean Lions seems a little bit too expensive. Making Colossus, he doesn't have the gold. So those Centaur are going to be a little bit of a help against the Spearman. But are these fully upgraded yet? Kind of. He's missing a little bit of upgrades, and Antozz has got nearly full upgrades. So the army for Antozz is pretty strong, pretty scary. As we do see some raids now coming over here, hitting the villages of our Ra players. More military buildings getting thrown up over here by him. Another market getting thrown up as well. Just markets everywhere. Why not? Markets everywhere except for the safe location. Oh, dearie me. More walls coming up here for Antozz as he's trying to make somewhat of a move forward. Still haven't seen any attempt at seriously setting up over here. He's got some Metropolis coming out by Antozz to push forward through all this kind of building spam that's been going on. If we take a look, probably don't have signal fires, which is a bit of a misstep here from Antozz. If we probably look over here, yeah, we've got signal fires at the very least, if not carrier pigeons. We've got carrier pigeons here. You can just see how much more of the map that you can see here, and you can defend any sneaky side builds with this upgrade incredibly nicely. As we see these buildings slowly but surely getting taken down. This Sable coming up, but a couple of Wadgets. Why not build some 32-minute, 45-second Wadgets coming through to take down this villager here? As he wanders in, and dead villager. Stable has been denied, and we do see some chariot archer raids now coming through. Again, would still love to see a single rock coming through. Like, imagine just coming in onto this position here, back here, and like just setting up, or coming, it's like floating in back here to get onto this, and then you set up a bunch of Migdols. Because Antozz has got no idea that, well, he might see the blue dot, but he's not gonna get alerted to it. It'd be such a big power move to get into the back of their base. So it can be difficult to kind of execute that and sneak through. Some more villagers wandering through for Antozz, but it looks like the Wadgets are waiting for them as they walk straight by. Are they going to survive? These Wadgets really just don't do that much damage, do they? They're kind of useless. And Antozz, he's going to get in. He's in, and he's going to finish his stable. The stable he once knew. It's this catapult here getting shanked down by a handful of militia. And now Antozz can rebuild in this corner. Why not? Why not rebuild in this corner? Let's keep going. We still have Shifting Sands. Shifting Sands still exists here for Rangers. Antozz has got to be a little bit concerned about a big Shifting Sands play on the back of this town center. This would be something that I would be thinking about trying to do, if I can. So I build like, say, 3 or 4 siege towers into a siege works. I would be kind of giving up ground here. I would come over here onto this position and start trying to, and then basically sneak a unit through over here, Shifting Sands onto this with a handful of villages. My Pharaoh, take the town center down, town center up. And then if my opponent is going to continue pushing through here, then we have those mercenary in reserve to kind of hold on. And then that's a very, very good use of that Shifting Sands. Whereas Antozz has got no god powers remaining. Simply just has building spam everywhere around the map remaining. And that's it. That's all he's got. So we'll see if it's gonna what's gonna happen here. But Antozz still behind in score, but in the late game, we know that that doesn't really matter. These villagers randomly just kind of thinking about where they want to go. They're very uncertain. There are a couple of places where he can just sneak. Like over here would be pretty disgusting. So the villagers are kind of just wandering through here. I'm not sure if he just wants them to die or whatnot, because he's It doesn't need them anymore, but who knows? Badger's getting taken down here, and they don't do all too much damage. Another catapult coming through here, going to try and take down this military academy. Still no attempt at finishing up this wall over here. The building spam has again continued in this corner here. The villagers here shanking away at the Ra players' villagers. He should have Skin of the Rhino, which he does have, so it's not a fair fight. If the other villager turns around and actually fights, it's all good. Not happening just yet, as the stable does end up coming up. This villager's making a break for the town center. Will he die? Yes, he does. And this villager will probably get taken down. Like, these are the most drunk towers I've ever seen. These Toxotes pushing forward here, trying to take down the heavy chariots in the back. The heavy Hippocon doing work here as well, as you see a barracks getting taken out here, and the catapult going after this archery range here as well, doing everything it can. So you just see one barracks getting finished off. Antozz is slow push here. It's starting to be a little bit scary for the Ra player. I mean, he's getting up these walls set up, yet again, still no more attempt at moving through here, which is definitely a weak point for Antozz. Like, generally speaking, fighting in the middle of the map, like, it's important, but it's not as useful as trying to make side pushes. So you have to control the middle, but you also can make pushes on the sides if you can. And I think it's super important to get that happening. But Antozz is the only one really trying, and he has managed to get something set up over here, and he's really hurt the Ra player's economy quite a lot. And you can see that these camel caravans only getting 21 golds here, not an empowered market at all, is really, really hurting. I think maybe he's just not aware about the corner market kind of trick. When you're when you don't have, you basically just go to the corner market, and it's the safest trade route you can get, and it's still like decent. Anyways, we got the military academy up here for Antozz, as he's still just trying to hold on. Some towers are starting to come down here. Antozz's trade route seemingly looking fairly decent here. Look at this, he's getting himself a whole 38 gold, it seems. Not bad. Not bad if we compare it to the Ra player. So, actually, we'll just check what it's actually getting. Ooh, 38. Yeah, 38 gold trade route to help him out just a little bit. Rangers is now able to start kind of spamming out those mercenary cavalry to push back, but he's probably just full trade route at this point. He is indeed full trade route, and oh god, these guys are, oh god. Man, just send something through and clean this up. God damn it. One siege tower, clean these walls up, and then he's able to, god, he's able to have like a half decent trade route. All these camel caravans moving to the market with only 22 gold hurts my brain. Yes, it's going to be a whole butt ton of gold that he's going to get once they finally travel the right amount of distance, but jeepers, it's a while to wait, that's for sure, and he's definitely struggling. You can see the resources are at 20. They're at 20 to sell, 20 resources to sell, basically, to get back for selling, and 280 to buy, it seems. Quite a lot. Quite a lot, and it seems like Antozz is making a little bit of progress in the middle of the map here as well. Now that there's that lull in gold, you see a stray guard tower getting thrown up over here to deal with this trade route. 109 gold is the amount, but one guard tower can really hurt this trade route quite a bit. And again, he's got the siege works here. If you just invest 3-4 populations of siege towers to take these walls down, then you're living the dream. You've already got the defenses set up. I don't know. Feels bad. Chat saying there should be a limit on walls, but then how will I wall? How will I spam walls if I'm not allowed to spam walls? You guys should see what Age of Empires 4 will look like in 20 years. If they don't change the walls. It's not even going to be 20 years. It's probably going to be in the next tournament. Some Age of Mythology player is going to come in and just spam walls everywhere. Start taking names. It's going to be beautiful. This is an interesting, very interesting fight to be seeing. These villagers are kind of going to town on this stone wall.
You need to.
Who knows why, but they were. Now we kind of have a bit of a lull as both players kind of like got a ton of economy here to support, but they don't, because they don't have a good trade route, it's like not enough to really build units. And both players are kind of in a similar position, though we do see this trade route is kind of set back up again for our Ra player. So he's going to go back to his 21 gold, but he's got like 40 camel caravans or something. 50 camel caravans. So where are the Heliopoli? Heliopoli would be great. Call it a couple of corner fortresses here. Boom, corner fortress. Start pushing forward with that. Would be beautiful. He probably does have the resources for it now. Maybe not. Not really. Nope. Boliphus coming in. Going to clean up some walls here. Maybe make his way into the corner. This market was deleted because you just can't be bothered cleaning these walls. Oh, dearie me. Ah, the towers! They're coming down. This is very important to control this position here. Apparently this is Mythic Snake. Apparently. This is what I've been told. Rangers. Pretending to be someone he's not. Very, very rude. You just got to keep asking yourself like what the next play is actually going to be, because sometimes you get to this point in the late game where you kind of just hit your head against a brick wall for long enough that you stop trying, and it can be a very, very big mistake to have that. You got to keep on trying to get into your opponent's position here. This Polyphemus here cleaning up some walls, and you take that position back with your own walls. You are seeing some walls here for 3antozz. He still recognizes that this town center is a little bit weak here. But we'll see how it's going to go. He does have a fortress back here, and he is starting to make some Heliopoli. At this point, once you see all these towers coming up, you really need to stop making Hippocon, because they're actually useless. As soon as these baluster towers are set up, the Hippocon become very, very sad. And you have to go into hoplites, basically. This Polyphemus is so strong. He's so strong. Why is he so strong? I think he might need some armor tuning. There's too much armor. Maybe. Just maybe. Big tank boy. Oh. Well, there is a small amount of attempts here now from 3antozz. Getting some Hetairoi out here, making his way forward. You can always target down these houses, and if you can pick those off, it can make a little bit of a difficult time for his opponent. We just see a cheeky guard tower getting thrown up over here as well. As the kind of lull has definitely started. These villagers trying to find, shanking through walls with these villagers. Why not? Why not shank through the walls with your villagers? Just pick off these as well. I want to see more red in blue's space and more blue in red space. This is a good story. Very smart. Definitely important. Has anyone ever tried to micro 15 camel caravan and 1 rock? Back before the rock was nerfed and had like 4.8 speed. You could just move him straight over to the market or the town center and then repeat, rinse and repeat. A little bit of an increase of the gold economy. Just saying. Whew. Antos has got the corner market. Look at it. Perfectly placed. Look at how good this market is. He's going to have so much gold in the bank. What's this red dot? Ah, champion Atari. Oh, shifting sands? Where? "44 minutes and 30 seconds. Well, sorry. 40 minutes of holding shifting sands for that. 40 minutes for something that could have been done with a rock. 40 minutes. 40. Ah! What's wrong with attacking this town center where there's no defenses? What's wrong with shifting sands onto this? Isn't this not the play? What's wrong with making like 5-6 siege towers, sending 20 villages of Pharaoh and a handful of spearmen in onto this town center and then spamming the mercenary? What's wrong with it? Ah, dearie me. Well, the towers are set up, so Antozz's town center is looking mightily close to falling. As these mercenaries go into town on the militia, you still need to put up walls here if you can, because these catapults are expensive, man. But both players have got next to no resources in the bank here, it seems. Antozz with 0 gold. We've got Snake with 0 gold. Trade routes are a mess. We see this market getting moved up to here. Put the market here. To here. Or to here. The catapults have been dealt with here. There's more rolling in. We've got 4 catapults making their way forward. Antozz's not getting those... like, the whole reason you go Hephaestus against Horus is Gold Colossus, is it not? He's not getting those Gold Colossus out, and he's not going to be able to push back very easily until he does. But these 3 catapults are going to be able to make their way forward, start sieging down this fortified town center very, very nicely here, as these handful of villages are not going to be enough to stop this one. The cavalry, or the mercenary cavalry here holding it. Where are these trade caravans going? As Snake is in a... I mean, maybe they'll tank, they'll block. Body block. Allow the catapults to continue sieging. Town center does end up falling. We finally, 46 minutes in, we've had progress. We've had progress. But Antozz is right in the base of Snake right now. He's trying to make some ground. Where'd that trade route go? Wait, is it? It's actually... He's going from here, maybe this town center over here, or this town center over here, all the way around here to get into this market to get the full trade. The way the market works is not based on time spent walking. It's based on distance the market is from the town center. So you don't get much from it. And we see the town center back up. So no worries here. All of that effort put to waste. Sad days. Living the dream. Okay. See the Wadjet here going to take down some militia. All that good stuff here. Exodes going down. Etc. Etc. Where's the next movement here? Nowhere. Antozz has got like a metric shit ton of resources, though. So maybe he wants to think about killing off some of his trade. Where is he trading to? Over here. Oh, we got the war barge. Dock up for 3antozz as well. Sometimes it's worth throwing a wall all the way around here just to make sure that's all good. One Colossus meets a butt ton of Ballista Towers and a Priest. Who will win? It's really looking like the Colossus is going down faster than the Ballista Tower. And he just gives up. 48 minutes into the game, and he just gives up. He just gave up. He's not lost. He has 3 town centers. He has a trade route. He's got resources. He's just given up. All he needed to do was put a market in this corner. All is well. And then we could continue for another 50 minutes. This is a silly game. This is partly why I recommend things like, well, to be honest, this is just comes down to like late game inexperience from the Ra player. Mostly like things like not using rock side builds. Very important here for Ra in the late game to get over those Poseidon things. And mostly just where do you actually want to use your shifting sands? What is shifting sands actually for in this matchup? And it's basically to try and go for a town center kill on the back town center, where your opponent you get your opponent by surprise. And there's not really a way for them to defend that other than losing it and then getting it and then killing and trying to defend everything else when it happens. But that didn't happen here. We saw the most interesting use of shifting sands we've seen in a while. But good win here for 3antozz. He managed to hold on. A lot of side builds really causing chaos here for Snake, it seems. GG, well played. If you guys enjoyed this game, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next game.